Welcome back, everybody. It's the Bacon Decker Podcast, episode, what, six?
Yeah, six already.
Yeah. So today we're going to jump into our top 5 places we want to travel. And we're going to work it down 5 all the way down to 1, and we're going to bounce back and forth and see what each other...
come up with, really.
Where we want to go. So how was your week this week?
This week's obviously a lot better than last week's. Not a lot has gone on this week. We've really been dog sitting for my mom mainly. That's been the highlight of the week is taking care of her dog. She went to Florida for 2 weeks, so we're out there 4 days a week, and then 3 days a week we're at the house for the night. So in between working and driving there and being there to take care of the dog, I really haven't done much of anything other than record next week's videos and whatnot. So it's been a pretty chill week, so which is good because the week before was terrible. So like as far as glad to have just a normal week. It seems like go to work, come home, and take care of the dog's not difficult. So it's kind of nice being outside the house, not being in our home. Yeah. With everything being closed down or whatever. So like it's nice just to kind of get out, to go somewhere, and just she's got a pool, so we've been swimming here and there. That's about it. What about you?
Whole lot of nothing, man. I go to work every morning. Or early morning, and then the rest of the day I spend playing video games or watching TV or taking care of the dogs. So
yeah, we've been playing quite a bit of Minecraft lately.
Been a good time. I've been enjoying it. I haven't played Minecraft in a long time, so
it was fun for us to get back into it as well. Obviously I streamed it, and then I was like, I want to play more, but I didn't have time to stream something for the audience. So I was like, you know what, we'll just go with play with William a little bit, and then kind of just see what happens, and it's turned into pretty cool world. And then Hunter's joined in as well, or not Hunter, Austin has joined in as well. So it's just relaxing. It's like it kind of gets you away from everyday life.
Keeps you kind of like, I guess, mentally occupied on, all right, well, now we're done creating this, so now we're going to create this. And it kind of like
Actually haven't watched any movies. We watched no. We just we don't watch a lot of movies anymore. We used to, and then when everything closed down, we got to this state where we'd come home, eat dinner, and watch a movie, and it seemed like it was repetitive, and we kind of got bored of just watching movies over and over. So that kind of what is sparked me coming down here and filming and recording, and she would do her own thing as well. So we kind of got like some time apart just because we got into this process where we just kind of seemed to be watching movies every night. And we got to the point where, I don't know about you, but we can't pick a movie.
That's my issue because, like, for example, Netflix, I've seen almost every single horror movie on Netflix, period. Like, my time in Okinawa... Even the bad ones.
Most of them are pretty bad.
Yeah. And then, so we actually were watching this movie on Hulu, I want to say, not last night, but the night before last. It looked good from the outside, right? It's this movie called Inside, and it's about this pregnant lady. She goes to the doctor, and they check her out, and she's all good, and she goes home, and that night... and backstory before I continue. She got in a car accident, and that's why she was at the doctor getting the baby checked out. So she was in a head-on collision with another vehicle, and her vehicle, like, flipped up into the sky and rolled over and all kinds of crazy stuff. But the other vehicle was just, kind of like stopped in the middle of the road. Well, she checked on her baby and it was okay. And so she's home that night, and all of a sudden there's like a knock on her door. And she walks down the stairs and she checks. She's like, hello? And she looks through the peephole, and it's just like a black figure standing out there. And
I'm calling 911 right then and there.
Well, she keeps saying hello, like, hey. And then finally the lady's like, can you let me use your, trying to get her to open the door and come in. And the pregnant lady's like, no, and at first she starts making excuses like, no, my husband's asleep, and her husband died in a car accident. So she's like, no, my husband's asleep, so I can't, and dude, and it just goes crazy on from there because, she starts beating on the door like, let me, and then she calls the police show up, the lady's gone, obviously.
Of course.
They just take a statement and they leave her alone, So she's like, okay, well, she goes to bed. Next thing you know, lady's in the house, drugging her up, inducing her baby, so she's going into labor. And she's running from it, like she wakes up.
Yeah.
Well, while the lady's doing that stuff, gets free and knocks her over the head with something and runs to the bathroom. From there, just like she's trying to get away from the lady, and it's a crazy story. But
actually, a lady then, huh? I was thinking it was like a ghost figure or something.
Yeah, no, it was a lady. She's trying to get the baby out of her.
Well, there's been a lot of like actual true stories of that going on.
Yeah, there's some that happened here in Bowling Green. That.
So I think that's maybe what they were basing it off of is actually like, real
building stuff. Story. Yeah, that's what it said. Is like 90% of these cases happen after the woman has had the baby. So the 10%, she's still pregnant. Right. And that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like something's just not right in the person's head. It's like, I'm going to take their baby, and doesn't, like, has no care for the person. Like, it's freaky. It's very scary.
It's a good idea, but the movie itself was, like, poorly written. It was just, it was lazy because obviously this lady made such good decisions in the beginning of the movie, like
she
called
just
the
gets
police.
Stupid at the end.
Yeah, she gets stupid. And it's like, why would you do? Hold on, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. Me and Krista were yelling at the TV by the end of the movie. Yeah. And I was just like, forget this, dude.
That was the new Michael Myers movie we watched. That was a lot of it. It seemed like the whole one. It's a slasher film, obviously, but like. I guess I'm just not into slasher films because when they start going down the stairs and they know they have the advantage, they're like waiting for him.
The high ground.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, is he down there? Oh, he's down there. Okay, well, we're gonna go down there and look. It's like, no, just stay up there and wait for help because like help's on the way or something. It's like, why would you attempt to go down and fight this dude that is clearly a psychopath and
he's super strong.
It has been known to be super strong. It's not like it's the first movie. It's like this is like years down the road. They know what he's capable of.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, in the movie, right, the lady's downstairs and she's telling the police to go away. So she acts like she's the pregnant lady and that, everything's fine and all that because the police come and check in later that night. So she starts walking down the stairs after the police have left. And I'm like, you have the perfect opportunity. Like, all right, so the staircase is kind of what we would call a fatal funnel in the military, right? So you're trapped. You either have to go back or you have to come forward. You can't stay on the stairs, right? So all she has to do is get something to keep her on the staircase or downstairs. Like a long pole or something.
Something, yeah.
But of course she is having a baby at the same time, feeling contractions and getting weak and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I'm just... if you have enough strength to do all that and stand up and try to escape and all that. But whatever, It's a crazy movie. If you want to check it out, but it'll make you upset.
It was called what? Just on the...
Inside.
It's
the
on
20...
Hulu?
Yeah, on Hulu. It's the 2016 version. Because they made it's a remake.
We don't watch a lot of Hulu. I did see the King of Staten Island. It looked good.
Did it come out?
Yeah, it's you can buy it. So I don't know if you can buy the movie digitally or you can actually still rent it. I'm not sure. But we've been looking into it.
Looks good.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool to give it a shot. Could be one of those overhyped ones, but there's really just not a lot going on right now with movies because they can't film. It's very difficult to film anything. So
heck, the Arby's commercial even references like, we were not able to film a new commercial, so pay no attention to the blurry sandwich in the background.
That's neat.
I don't know if they just were making that up or if that actually was the case, but that was
a lot of the shows on YouTube and stuff, these guys that go to studios and actually have to drive to work, they just aren't able to do that, so they've had to do this. Good Mythical Morning for sure is one of them that I've obviously noticed. It's just they've had to record from home, and it's a completely different show.
I mean, here by the time it's recording, they're recording.
Yeah, they're back to normal now, but it's interesting.
There's like only 3 of them there.
Yeah,
but
well, yeah, they're social distancing.
Normally they have like a huge team there, so.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it is still slowly but surely getting better. But at the same time, there is like talk of like spikes again in other places.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I can tell you right now, here in Bowling Green, there's been spikes.
Yeah, in Florida too. I've heard Florida is like the pivotal point of like terrible.
It's summertime.
So many people. As soon as you open it up, that's where they're going. So, and we talked about that last week. Is that Florida is the place to go, and I've got friends there right now that are in Florida. But I guess we should hop into...
You about ready to hop in there?
Yeah. You want to go first?
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and go first.
So we're going from our favorite idea?
Or fifth all the way to first. I think that's the best way to do it.
I didn't really do like worst to best planned. I just did 5 total.
So what I did is like...
almost like a bucket list? Like your number one place you would want to go to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I'll start at kind of like the bottom, the 5th.
Okay.
And then work my way up because I feel like that's probably the best way to do it. So my first pick is Istanbul, Turkey. I would love to go there because it's known as the crossroads of the world. You know, it's right there between Asia and Europe. So they, throughout history they've had, so many different empires control them, and it's a major trade route. So there's so many different cultures and different types of people that, live there, and the different religions that have lived in harmony there, Islam, Christianity, and all the other major religions. So I just think it would be cool to see all that, and to see, there's a building there, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's a gorgeous building. It's got 4 spires at the end of the property, one on each.
So you're going for the location itself more than anything.
Yeah, just, and there's waterway. It's a huge harbor town, and there's 2 sides of it. There's the European side and the Turkey side. So I think it would just be really cool to see all that, the architecture, the foods, different cultures meshing together there.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like crazy concoctions if they're blending. Then you get those moments where like there's like both sides have kind of made something together.
Yeah,
almost. Is that just
yeah? I mean that's mainly it.
Kind of building on that. I guess my 5 would be Washington D.C. You mentioned it last week in the traveling and all the monuments and places to visit there. My brother went when he was younger. And that was kind of the reason I would like to go. It's just I've never been, so to see the monuments and the statues and all the places dedicated to all these people that have died serving, I think would just be a lot to take in. Really neat to see what they've built and how they protect it too. Even to this day, like they just preserve it. So I think that'd be really cool to see the monuments and stuff. That's really it as far as I kind of did a snippet as well. It's Washington, like Mount Rushmore. I think would be a pretty cool place to see too.
Oh yeah.
It's not the same place, but I think it would be very neat to see in person.
Just a gigantic.
Yeah, sculpted. It's crazy. It's kind of like Minecraft in real life. You're like, well, let's put some faces in these rocks, see what happens.
Oh man.
But yeah, that was like I said, just Washington D.C. Just to see what it's like. It's publicized as like one of the cities of America. So it is the city
capital.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. It's definitely like a place you want to go and visit at some point. There's.
It's not too difficult to go to either. It's kind of like as far as us going, we could be able to go pretty easily. I feel like.
I mean it's pretty close to us anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see, it's probably a 12 or 13-hour drive from here.
Which Tampa, when we would go, it was I think 12 hours from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same. I mean, 12 hours is not a bad drive. We drove 10 hours to New Orleans for the cruise. And if we had air in my car and we didn't have AC driving that whole way, if we had air, I think the 10-hour trip would have been fine. Yeah. It's just it was so miserably hot to drive there.
Well, now you got air, so you can do it.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's all I've got for that one.
All right, let's see. So my 4th one on my list is. All right, so it's gonna sound bad, but it's Japan. So and
home away from home.
Yeah, so it's my home away from home, but more importantly, so I loved Okinawa, and I definitely want to go back there, and I will go back there as soon as I can. But I didn't really get to experience too much of mainland Japan. All I got to do as far as mainland goes is I got to go hike Mount Fuji, and I got to walk around Tokyo for like half a day. So the way that trip went is we got there and we got to the hotel, put all of our stuff in there in our rooms, and then we immediately went back downstairs, got on the bus, and went to the mountain. We got to the mountain at like 5 that evening.
It's Mount Fuji when you went?
Yeah, Mount Fuji. So we got to the mountain at like 5 that evening, and then we hiked up all night, and then came back down in the morning, and left and went back to the hotel. And that was miserable. So that rest of that day, we didn't really do much.
Just recovered.
Yeah, we recovered because we were up all night hiking and miserable and cold. And
it was a hiking trip.
That's a story for another time. Is the experience I had on Mount Fuji, but yeah. So we didn't get to do too much that day. We came back, and then so the next day we were leaving at like 4, or not even 4. It was like 2. So we walked around Tokyo as much as we could. We seen like a big park there, and we walked around and ate at one of the local restaurants there.
I'm assuming different food there than in Okinawa, or similar?
Slightly, just because they do things a little different. Their mannerisms are a little different in mainland as opposed to Okinawa. But we got to see like there's like a place. It was like kind of like a religious site almost. Like you go there and you pray or something like that. But it was pretty neat, getting to see that. And then we got to ride on the subway or whatever they call it, the metro or something. But that was cool, getting to ride on that.
I'm sure the amount of people there is also nuts too.
Many.
Especially somebody from Kentucky, like seeing that many people. Chicago was surprising me just to see how many people are condensed into this small
in this little area.
And they know how to work it. Us outsiders, it's like...
Especially us redneck folk.
Like, you're too close to me, but that was normal to them. It was it was like I was talking about the traffic in Chicago. It's like back and forth and how close they are to each other. Here in Kentucky, a lot of times there's like a car or two lengths difference between you and the next person. There's
bumper to bumper.
Bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Japan. Or go ahead.
So I'll just say... So where I want to go specifically the next time I'm in mainland Japan is Osaka. So Osaka is renowned in that area as being a party city. You go there, you get drinks, you eat, you have a good time. It's like one of the best places to be as a tourist, And I heard that from everybody I served with that had went up there. And unfortunately I didn't take the opportunity to go up there and do it like I should have. But
you still have responsibilities there too. Yeah. So, that's... we talked about where we wanted to go, and he's like, I didn't know if I wanted to do places I've already been. And I was like, well, you were there as a military guy, and so I'm sure there's a ton of places.
And there's restrictions. There's some stuff you can't do, which is why I also want to go back to Okinawa. I was able to see a lot of stuff in Okinawa because I didn't go to mainland, so I got to see Shuri Castle and the aquarium there, and I got to travel up and down the island, around, So it was awesome to go there, but I also want to experience the mainland.
As a civilian, almost.
Yeah. Because then, because we were bound by restrictions there, like curfew and certain things we weren't allowed to do out in town. Whereas now I'm a civilian, I can go back there and I can do it right.
Well, we should definitely go, because I actually put Japan on mine as well. A completely different reason. If you follow the channel itself and not just the podcast, you guys have seen the Pokemon openings, the cards, and just in general, Pokemon is kind of... re-entered my life. As a kid, we collected it, and I played a lot of the games on like Game Boy Advance and stuff. But I did start playing the game again. Also the cards. So Japan is just like the center point for it. I think it would be so neat to see. They have a lot of places there in Japan that are built for Pokemon, like life-size Pokemon, and also just like almost like museums of arcades.
It's a big part of the culture out there.
Yeah, and just in general nerd stuff. Like there are a lot of gamers, and I like a lot of animes too. So it's kind of like I just think I'd probably lose my mind.
It's paradise.
I think there's a place there for Gundams that like they have full size Gundams, built statues and whatnot. I think would be so cool to see, along with all the culture and stuff. So we could go together and like you kind of get your fix, but we'll party all night and then we'll go see like some Pokemon statues or something.
Well, and I don't know if you've heard about this store in Tokyo. It's called Super Potato. But I would love to go there. And I would love to see that. Just because they have a bunch of like old games and consoles and stuff like that there. I would definitely love to.
And arcades are foreign now at this point. It's like not foreign as in other locations of the world, but you don't see them anymore.
Here in America.
In our mall here, they closed it down several years ago, and that was like, that was the only reason I used to go to the mall. Because there's GameStop and stuff, and guy stores. As a nerd, you just didn't go to the mall. It wasn't like a pivotal point for me. So once the arcade shut down, I was like, what's the point of going to the mall? Like, because we would go to the arcade there and then go to the food court, and that was like our day at the mall.
Yeah.
And it was Aladdin's Castle. I'm sure a lot of people remember Aladdin's Castle.
I know in Japan there were two major arcade, or not in Japan, but in Okinawa specifically, there were two major arcades we would go to. There was the Sega arcade, and then there was...
Is it just strictly Sega?
Yeah, strictly Sega games.
That's awesome.
And let me tell you, it's boom, 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 leveled up. Like, there's different levels to it. And then there's another one, and I'm trying to remember. It was just... Oh, round one. That was the other one. So Sega was in the mall, and Sega was only 2 levels. It was the round one that was 4 levels.
Like stories? Like 4 stories? Wow.
Different games on each one. Amazing. Japan. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah, see,
we would go there and have such good times.
Yeah, and we would definitely record it if we went back or went in general. That would be super neat.
Yeah,
and maybe just as a buddy trip, maybe just playing something just us two, to where it's just like a guy like us hanging out. Yeah, the boys. But yeah, it's not really my fourth. I guess it's my fourth as far as the list goes, just because that's the main reason I would like to go. I think it would
Pokemon.
be, and just in general, to travel to another country outside of a cruise line would be really cool to experience. I think to fly that long, Gabby will not fly that long. She hates flying.
Rough, dude.
So I wouldn't have trouble flying, but she hates flying. So we have never flown anywhere together at all, and I don't think she's flown at all in general. Yeah. So if we did go, she'd probably be like, "Yeah, sure, y'all can go ahead, and I'll stay home on the ground."
I know for a fact I want to go back, and as soon as I can feasibly make that happen, I will.
Yeah, and it's difficult. Like we talked about it last year or last week's. As far as like you kind of just travel once a year, it seems like, and some people are more fortunate to go more often. It's really what you put your efforts into, strictly. But life really just smacks you around where you have to really decide which trip is worth the most to go.
Yeah, prioritize.
Yeah, it's definitely, especially when you start talking about traveling. It's just the amount of money. And going right now is probably really, really difficult to Japan in general.
Well, and I seen something in the news. Is that I think they passed something where they're considering paying people, like paying for half of their trip so they can come over and, because a big part of their economy is tourism.
Yeah.
And just like any nation these days, any first world nation.
Well, I think cruise lines, all these little islands, the Bahamas and stuff, that their main attraction is tourism. So if you got nobody coming in on these cruise lines, a lot of people are struggling. Yeah. And they're not going to recover anytime soon because even if you allow people to travel, how many people are like, yeah, I'll get on a boat and go. So, I can see them incentivizing ways to get people to get back on a plane or a boat.
Well, if they do that, I mean, that might be the opportunity. We just, hey.
That priorities, It's like, well, it's only half price now. This is our shot.
Yeah.
But you could get some kind of virus, but for that price,
you can't beat it. Yeah. Well, we'll get a couple N95s and we'll just sit on the airplanes with them. It'll be fine.
Get a bubble suit.
Yeah. But, all right, so I guess it's my turn for number three.
Yeah.
So number three, and this is going to kind of sound silly after I just talked about Mount Fuji, but
you want to go to another mountain?
Yeah, I want to go hike another mountain. I want to hike Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. So it's slightly larger than Mount Fuji, and it's still smaller than Mount Everest. I don't think. I mean, maybe if I really tried for it, I could hike Mount Everest, but
Mount
Kilimanjaro is still within like you don't need too much special equipment to go up.
Mount Everest is a feat even for like experts still. They're in danger. So Mount Everest is something else.
So I want to go to Tanzania and I want to specifically hike Mount Kilimanjaro because after hiking Mount Fuji and the accomplishment I felt, even though it was like a struggle, like a real life struggle, I would love to go and do that next. Like I kind of made like a bucket list for myself of I want to hike one major mountain on every continent besides Antarctica. So
I think you hike up glaciers at that point.
Yeah, but I would like to do that on every major continent. So Mount Kilimanjaro is on my list, and I think that would be awesome. And apparently the views from it are just incredible. And
my dad's actually climbed a couple mountains. I'm not sure the names off the top of my head, but he loves hiking, and that's definitely a trip you could take on your own. I'm not one for hiking up a mountain.
Yeah, that's kind of just crazy me wanting to do something like that.
I think it's interesting and very cool for the people that do it, but you do have to really mentally and physically train for something like that just to be ready to go up a mountain, the altitude change and all of that.
You get dizzy up there towards the top. You get you start walking a little bit and you're like, taking.
And I'm sure the views are so worth it once you get up there. Like wow, and you just kind of take in what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And you really probably just feel small when you see it from that height. And see how the world is.
Yeah. I mean, it was unfortunate when I was.
Is it flat up there? Is the world flat?
Well, at the top of Mount Fuji, unfortunately, when I was up there, it was too cloudy because it was raining all night long. So
that's awful.
So I didn't get to see anything except clouds. We were above the clouds, so I seen all the clouds.
That would be a sight to see in general, just to be above the clouds.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the sun either, though, come up because it was just too cloudy everywhere. It was just miserable.
But it rains there a lot, right? As far as Japan.
Yeah, it does rain a lot. not so much in mainland as it does in Okinawa, but it still does rain a lot in mainland. And it just so happened that I was going towards the end of season there to be able to hike Mount Fuji, so it was getting colder and it was getting, more rainy as opposed to like hotter and not as rainy. So, unfortunately.
Number 3 for me. I'll probably put Mexico for number 3. As far as cruise lines, we were actually planning to do a cruise for our honeymoon. I think I mentioned that last one.
Yeah.
For traveling, but we didn't. We ended up deciding to go to Florida and renting a condo there, and it's been pushed back, obviously. But we had a ton of fun in Mexico, and I mentioned in the last one as far as discussing more of what we did. New Orleans is amazing. If you don't go to Bourbon Street, if the party is not your forte or your scene, you may not enjoy it. We actually stayed at the hotel, the Hilton, right next to the strip mall on the water there, and it was so cool to just be able to go from the hotel. It's actually connected, so you just go straight into the mall, and the mall was really cool. We got matching watches that have like our initials engraved in them, and this is 3 weeks after we met, so it was like nuts to be getting matching watches that you could buy one get one free or buy one get half off or something. It was stupid expensive still, but you know how the malls are, like the big malls, they try to get you, swindle you, bring you in.
Just rob you blind.
The food's amazing though. Best shrimp that I've had is in New Orleans. It's Manning's Bar, and the shrimp was amazing there. We went to an actual dine-in place in the Hilton downstairs, like there. I can't remember off the top of my head. Drago's, I think is what it's called. But it was super fancy, great seafood. And I'm not big on seafood, but I tried some things there that I wouldn't have tried here as far as food-wise, and just absolutely phenomenal food. But the overall experience is like walking down the street. We went to the casino one night in New Orleans, and then that was the first time I've ever gambled. As far as like going into a casino and like you go in, you see all these, like you talked about it, as far as like
it's ornate.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very pretty, even though it's gambling. So like they make it look really nice and innocent, but you're gonna lose money. Like I don't know how many people walk in there expecting to get money and then leave empty-handed. Which I did okay. We did just the penny slots, but
okay.
So I think we took $20 each and just did the penny slots, and I actually won some back. But then I just ended up giving it to somebody that was playing on the penny slots. I was like, here, I'm not going to use it. Y'all can go ahead and have it. And it was like a voucher or whatever.
Yeah.
But then she didn't do so well. But it was cool because they give you free drinks too. You just sit there and then like they would bring you out drinks. And they're not that strong, but it was just a cool experience. But the cruise itself, seeing Mexico, you wouldn't think I would be a tropical person. Like I sweat a lot.
Yeah.
Heat's not my thing. But when we went, it was so cool. The amount of pictures and amount of things that we did in Mexico, and the food is amazing there. Like actual, authentic food in Mexico is phenomenal, and nothing compares here as far as food there. So now when I go to a Mexican restaurant, I'm just like, it's not the same. It's really ruined.
What is this?
Yeah, it's like you got a little plate of nachos, and you're like, I was expecting the full plate of nachos mounted up. Like, it's just not the same. So we definitely want to go back, even to the same places that we went. We would love to go back and just experience it together, because we were with her family. So that's why we kind of planned for the honeymoon. It was just us. We could do what we wanted each night. There's comedy clubs on the boat. And in general, the cruise lines are definitely a neat way to experience a lot in a small amount of time. And cheap, too. It's not as expensive as you just flew to Mexico. It's all-inclusive or something. So
I've definitely considered that, because, of course, my parents have been to Mexico several times.
I didn't know
that. They flew there, but, they did all the resort stuff, Cancun, and just other places around the Yucatan there.
Yucatan, I think, is where we went. I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
It's that peninsula there, so that's where most of the resorts are. But yeah, you said it in the last one.
Cozumel was the other place.
Yeah, that's where they've been. But yeah, so they said, you don't go off the reservation, as they say, don't go off the reservation, because if you do, you can go into a bad area. And
you wouldn't know it. I mean, you just dumb tourist. You have no idea. It's a completely different country, completely different rules and laws, and we made sure we were where we were supposed to be on time.
I mean, you got to think about, the stuff you see in like Narcos. And
Yeah, there's a reason there's drug cartels, and there's a reason that they are fighting them constantly. It's not like it's made up. There's actual issues.
It's real bad stuff.
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
But
and they don't care down there, man.
They'll get you.
Yeah, I don't want to end up in the canal or whatever.
Oh man!
But that's pretty much it for Mexico. I definitely enjoyed the trip.
Yeah.
She did too, and her whole family did as well. And it's just a very beautiful place. And swimming with the dolphins was really cool. As a guy, I went into swimming with the dolphins. I was like, this is going to be so stupid. Like, this is not going to be fun. It's on her bucket list. She loves dolphins. And so when we get in the water and you get these dolphins behind you, and I was a big guy. At this point, I hadn't lost the weight. So 430 pounds, and this dolphin is behind me pushing me. I mean, there's two of them. Obviously it took more, but for two dolphins to push myself through the water on a wakeboard, that was so cool to me. So it was very cool. And they're trained too. They whistle. They give them treats, which are fish. And they're like dogs. They're very well trained. It was so cool to see that.
They're supposedly smarter than we are.
Yeah, I mean, they're very smart, and it was so cool just to be there. And then we swam actually in the ocean a little bit on like a bar resort kind of thing, like in the water, but there was a bar too, so that was pretty neat. But yeah, that's all I got. So your next one, I guess, is this number 2?
Yeah, this is our number 2.
Ooh.
So mine, and I kind of put these together just because they're really on the same level, but they're right next to each other, so I figured I could, is Australia and New Zealand.
I knew you were going to put Australia on there.
So the big thing with Australia for me is like, it's just so cool, like that. To me, Australia is England's equivalent of the South in America. They're like the redneck English people. I just think it's so cool,
It's so dangerous, too.
Yeah. All right, first of all, I'm terrified of snakes, right? So I probably shouldn't go to Australia. But
among other things.
Yeah. But I just think, it's so cool. They got the Great Barrier Reef out there. Apparently it's just, they have the most beautiful beaches in the world. The people are so nice and, just funny. It's supposedly just good company down there. Sydney is supposed to be beautiful. They have the Sydney Harbour with the Opera House there. I've heard Brisbane and Perth are, great places to go. And then the Outback, that's the dangerous area, but it's so cool to see how people have adapted to live in that area.
Yeah, you're really in their territory at that point, the wild itself.
Yeah, but then. Just Australia and how everybody lives on the coast, like all the major stuff is on the coastline, and then you come inland, and then that's where all like, it's harsh, dangerous. And, I don't know, just growing up and seeing the crocodile hunter and, seeing my buddies, when I was over there in Japan go down and serve with the Australian guys.
So you actually guys that went from Japan to there? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so the Marines have a place in Darwin, Australia, where they go and they train alongside Australian soldiers.
That's cool.
So I've heard really good stories about hanging out with them and having good times. So I think I would really enjoy it, just going down there and seeing everything.
I didn't put it on the list, but yeah, that's and you don't hear much about it either. It's really like you hear about the animals, obviously, but the people themselves and like the culture and what they do down there, you don't really hear much about as far as like it seems like it's a nice place to go and actually visit.
Yeah.
If you're not looking for the thrill of the animals, like if you stay in the towns and stuff, it seems like it's a calm place to go and not as much danger to go there.
Yeah. But on the flip side, New Zealand, right? New Zealand is actually known as one of the places in the world that does not have any snakes. So I think that's probably my paradise. But I've also heard great things about the people there, how nice they are. It's a very similar culture, but at the same time it's very distinctive because they also have the native Maori people, which are like Pacific Islander people. They're part of that demographic. But it's so interesting how their government runs because they have a certain amount of votes that go directly to the Maori people, and then everybody else. But I think it's so cool, just the beautiful landscapes, the mountains, the fields. I don't know if you've seen the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right.
That's movie, or those movies were filmed.
I actually just read this morning. Did you know Ian Holm passed away this morning?
No, I didn't.
He did. He passed away. He played Bilbo Baggins in the originals and whatnot. And I think he played in Hobbit, right? Didn't he? No, it was a younger version. So. I'm sorry. But yeah, he played in Lord of the Rings, the originals, as Bilbo Baggins, and he passed away in the hospital. I believe he had Parkinson's, and they said it was related to Parkinson's. But yeah, I did hear that this morning actually.
That's unfortunate.
So, yeah, he played Napoleon, and what's the movie? I think Battle of something. I can't now remember the name. It's slipping for me. And then he played in the original Alien as well. So,
I didn't even know that.
So he did. Like I said, I think he passed away peacefully. What I read this morning, it's just in the hospital with his family. So,
so
back to New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah. Bring it back up, but yeah, no. So I definitely like to go see there. Just because of the beautiful landscapes. I'd love to see everything. I'm a big outdoors guy. I love to go hiking. I love to go, swimming and fishing and all that stuff outside.
I always have, actually, too. I mean, growing up, we went to the quarry. Growing up, that was what was Nature's Preserve, right? It was a wildlife preserve. We weren't supposed to be there, but we went in and seen the quarry, and it was beautiful. Things like that is so neat.
The water is just,
yeah, it's just so blue.
But yeah, so definitely getting to go there and experience the outdoors, and then see a little bit of their culture as well, how they do things. They're very proud, being from New Zealand. People will call them Kiwis, which is a nickname because of like a flightless bird that lives there, and they turn that from an insult into like a pride thing because their people are renowned for being like heavy duty hard hitters, especially in like war zones. So in history. So they take a lot of pride in being called that now. So I definitely like to see that aspect and meet people who are proud of their culture like that.
So my 1 and 2 kind of combine for reasons. I guess I'll do Alaska first, just kind of building off the cruise thing. I've heard that once you go on a cruise to Alaska, you won't want to go to another cruise line. They say that it's beautiful. The places that they go, I think you had to fly obviously to get there from here, but that's definitely one we thought about going to, Gabby and I. So it's more of a family trip, like a family vacation. I think we would love cruise line for it, and then also just seeing that aspect. Me, like I said, I'm not into hot spots, the climate and stuff. So to go to somewhere that's a little bit cooler, even during the summer, it's just nice. I've heard the summer is the best time to go for the trips. I think it would be amazing to see the wildlife, the bears, and the fishing. I'd like to go fishing there. I think that would be super cool. To experience. So it definitely maybe a family trip with my brother and his girlfriend, and then myself and Gabby could go and just Hunter's a big fisher, loves fishing. It'd be super neat.
You wouldn't even need a passport. That's right there in home.
So that was the main reason. Just a family trip. The cabins and stuff there. It's supposed to be just beautiful, like great weather.
Yeah. I mean, just great. And, so much of it still untouched by people. So I think that would definitely be an exciting thing to do.
Yeah, right there in the wildlife and the wilderness itself. Like you said, untouched. And really taken care of, too. It's just a really pretty area.
Yeah.
I used to watch a cop show that was based in Alaska.
Oh, what was it,
Alaska State Troopers?
Yeah.
Or state police or something like that. It's so cool to I watched it honestly just to see the
the scenery.
The area. They're like, oh well, over here is like, oh, there's a bear or something. I was like, that's so neat, just like, and
like,
it's so
you're
casual.
Cop rolling down the road, and it's like, oh
yeah. If you've seen a bear here, you're like, there's a bear in the middle of Bowling Green, like everybody's gonna panic.
Yeah.
So, or even on the outskirts of Bowling Green or something. So, just probably the same in Australia. Like, oh yeah, there's a lion outside. I'm like, what?
I hope there's not a lion outside. Yeah. But yeah, dude, that'd definitely be somewhere cool. I'd definitely consider going there as well, even though I hate the cold.
Yeah, you would be bundled up the entire time.
Yeah.
You would be like sweatshirts and hoodies and everything all together.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I guess we're down to number ones already. It seems like we're just flying through these.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is a short list, and I mean,
mainly, we're kind of keeping short too on the reasons. This is kind of sporadic. We kind of just built off of last week's just traveling. We both said to ourselves after, it's like we could have talked for so much longer on our trips that we have gone to, but as working, I've really daydreamed a lot about like places I would love to go, and these are just some of them just off the top of my head that I was like, those would be cool places to go.
Definitely. No, I think about traveling all the time, and especially since I've gotten to go out of the country, like I want to go do more of it.
There's so much more out there than just where you're at. There's just,
I mean, once you're opened up to that, and especially for me where, I had never really traveled outside of the United States, and then all of a sudden I find myself in Japan in a completely different culture. It was just amazing.
I remember when you told me that you were going to Japan, I was like, that is so cool. Like, it's so neat. And obviously you're like, you hate it. It was a love-hate relationship, especially at first. You're like, I just want to be home, family, friends, and you felt like you're missing things. But at the same time, when you got back, you're like, now I want to go back. So it's...
Well, and, the longer I was there, the more I wanted to stay there. Because I was getting to know people out
you really
in town.
adapted to it.
Yeah, and I loved being out there. I was driving out there. Like, they were driving on the left side of the road. So
that would be rough for me to grasp.
Well, you would think that. The only thing that's hard, really, is the turn signals on the other side. So you'll constantly find yourself turning on the wipers, and you're like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, that would...
But, yeah, so I guess we're on number one.
Number one, yeah, this is yours.
All right.
I'm interested to see what your number one is.
So, anybody who knows me knows that I love World War II. One of the things on this shelf back here is a book about World War II. So, my number one is Normandy, France. I want to go there so bad. I want to go there so bad that instead of taking Spanish in high school, I took French. Like an idiot. But I want to go there so bad. And I just love, everything. I learned a lot about French culture in French class. But, I mean, the food, it's supposed to be one of the best places to eat in the whole world. Just in the historical aspect. I want to see the beaches. I want to see the monuments. I want to go to every single town. And,
I'm sure
there was 2 world wars fought in this country.
Yeah.
Like, you want to tell me, there's not stuff to see? I mean, everybody's like, oh, I want to go see Paris and the Eiffel Tower. That's cool, all right? But I want to go see the real, the real deal.
The real grit.
I mean, because you got to think, that's world history right there in that country.
Yeah.
I mean, there's bunkers that are still there in pretty great condition. I mean, the towns where these battles were fought.
You really put yourself in this situation. I've seen a lot of comparison of photos of in World War II then now, and a lot of the buildings are still there. They're refurbished or whatever, but they're still the same.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to think. I mean, you think these places they fought. This was somebody's city, somebody's town. Like imagine Bowling Green or something, or wherever you're at. Imagine your town turning into a war zone and then have to rebuild after that. That's crazy to think. Like how many people died there and fought there. So long ago, but at the same time, not so long ago. It would be nuts to be in that situation.
I just think it would be so chilling. You go down there and you just look down at, because the German bunkers that are still there on the beachheads, and then looking down into the beach and thinking, like young men our age were running.
Yeah, had no idea really what was about to happen.
So I think that would be so surreal to see that in real life.
I still get chills even like Saving Private Ryan, like that opening scene. Like it's crazy to me to think.
I think that actually happened. Stuff like that happened.
Yeah, and
it's just crazy.
It's chilling, like you said. It's just absolutely chilling how many people lost their lives fighting. Right then and there, in that area.
But other than that, I'd also like to experience, like the food. Apparently, the food's just the best. They make great wine out there in France, so I'd like to go see, try some of that. Just cause, I'm not a big wine drinker, but I would like to try it,
Or at least see the vineyards and stuff, how they make it and whatnot. We're not big wine people either. We have had wine, and it seems to upset our stomachs. It's just, it's different. It's not like a beer or a liquor.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Yeah. So it's definitely nice, and it feels relaxing to have a glass, but for some reason it just hurts our stomach. So Gabby and I both are not big on it, but like you said, just to see it and where they make it and how it comes about.
I'm not a big, and so not as much wine, but I like champagne. And so, there's a whole, it's named after a region in France, Champagne region. So I would like to go try that maybe. I mean, I would definitely go see Paris just because, that would be
a monument. Yeah.
It's an old town, I think they even have like this order where nothing's allowed to stand taller than like a certain building in France besides the Eiffel Tower.
Right.
Or in the city, nothing's allowed to stand taller than a certain building there.
That would make sense. Here it seems like they they're like competing.
Yeah,
Chicago. It's like who can make the tallest, and it's like they're constantly adding to something.
Yeah.
But that's neat to be like, this is it. This is our monument, and nobody else is even getting close to it.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe you'll see like, just other stuff around the country.
I'm sure it's beautiful.
The
even
southern coast
cities.
near the Mediterranean, that's supposed to be gorgeous, like in Nice and Marseille. So I don't know, just getting to see all that beautiful country, but specifically getting to see the historical area. I know closer to like Verdun in France, so towards the north, closer to Belgium, they still have like craters from World War One that are like, that are grown, grass and stuff finally, but there's still like the land is formed a certain way because of that. Yeah. So I think that would be kind of cool to see as well.
All right, my number one, like I said, 2 and 1 are kind of back to back. Hawaii is my number one. Really? I think if I ever get to go Hawaii, I'll feel like I've made it. Mm-hmm. I feel like that is the pivotal moment where I'm like, I've done it. Now, not just going Hawaii, but like the amount of things to do there. It's so expensive. Just to be there. People that live there, I don't know how they manage to do it. It's a different lifestyle. Big reason Hawaii has always been a place. Obviously, people talk about it here. It's like, oh, you want to go to Hawaii? Hawaii is the big place to go. Mm-hmm. But Roman Atwood and his family, I used to watch their vlogs every day. And to see him and his family and the things they did there, the views, the beaches, the shorelines, all the adventures they did, swimming with sharks and stuff. And just all, if you haven't seen their videos of when they've been in Hawaii, they just breathtaking places to go, and the people there are so nice. They're built off tourism as well, so you really have that like mentality of like you want these people to come back and visit again. So they're all super nice.
The hospitality is real great out
there. So, and the food and the Honolulu's, like the luau's.
Honolulu's the capital.
Honolulu's the capital, but like the luau's of, I got jumbled up. But like their traditions there would be super cool to see in person. And like I said, just I feel like that's when I've made it. I get a trip to Hawaii. That's I don't mean just any trip, but like going to do those things. And I would love to swim with sharks. I don't have any experience diving or anything like that, but I think getting in the water with such a beast of an animal, their personalities and how they react would be so cool to just say that I've been in the water with sharks to that extent. But yeah, Hawaii, obviously like a family trip, but with friends and family, like that would be so neat to do. Just to experience it together with people close to me and have those memories forever. I'm sure Roman Atwood and his family, like they cherish moments like that, just being together. So like Hawaii would be like the perfect family trip to me to go and just experience things that I never thought I'd get to experience.
One of my friends that I served with actually, so after she got out, she moved out to Hawaii, to be with her husband. And she posts pictures all the time of just gorgeous scenes from her hiking the mountains or out swimming in the ocean and surfing and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, that is the life.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I should, Obviously, I mean,
it's experiences everywhere. So you had your Japan experiences, and I'm sure she does too, as far as just like these different places. And that's the thing with me, Hawaii is like, it's such a pretty place. Like it's crazy to think there's places that look like that.
Yeah. Now, and one thing I just could not believe when I got to Okinawa is how blue the water was. Because once you go to these places that are sitting on like coral as like an island, the water is like just the most turquoise, teal,
almost
blue.
See-through almost.
Yeah, it's amazing. And to see that in real life is it's life-changing.
Yeah, it's and these are just some of them.
I mean, we could go all day long.
I would like to go everywhere. You know, there's not a place I wouldn't like to at least see once traveling. Just to say that I've been there, to say that I've experienced something from that culture. Yeah. Obviously, now the world the way it is, it's hard to go to these places. It's more dangerous to go to some places. But just traveling in general is a big thing in both of our lives and things we want to experience and do. So I think this is good to be almost a two-parter. It's not really the story of us, but it's definitely something we should have built on. We felt like the last one was kind of rushed in some ways. We left a lot of things out.
Yeah.
And that's, I hit on some things on the trips I've been to, but also places I'd love to go and reasons why. So, That's definitely let us know places you would like to go. We would love to hear your dream vacations, your dream trips, or even trips you have experienced as well. Kind of building on last week's.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear those. But that's all I've got.
Yeah. Likewise. Please let us know how you're liking the podcast, video. How's it looking? And then, like I said, or like you said, talk to us in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
We love hearing feedback from you guys. Follow us on Instagram.
And a lot of the followers are friends and family. So we do hear you guys outside of comments and stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you're not familiar with how to comment on videos, I have a lot of my family that is just not tech savvy.
Yeah.
But they love seeing the videos and love hearing about us talk. A lot of them say it's emotional to hear our stories and just how we've become people mm-hmm. and grown adults. So we do hear those as well. But if you do comment and stuff, we would love to hear that as feedback. And like I said, just experiences from you guys. So whether it be weekly or dream trips or whatever we're talking about in the moment, definitely we will respond back to you through YouTube, through Instagram, or any other way possible.
Yeah. So I guess that's it for this episode.
It is.
So until next time, I guess we'll see you then.
See ya.